Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to Mentor Monday. It is the day after Christmas. We're crazy enough to be here, day after Christmas. And I know that many of you are with your families and still enjoying this Christmas break, which you might get a couple more days. I know some of you usually work on Mondays, but because the holiday fell over the weekend, that means that you got today off. Hey, go do that thing. But one of the most important things for next year is going to be your coaching practice and getting things up and going. So some of you will be watching this on a replay, which is amazing. And I salute you being with your family and everything else. I had a great last week, with my family, with all of my kids being together and doing a lot of fun stuff and everything else. But I was really thinking we've got 5 days essentially until the new year. January is the almost number two by just a little bit, but it's really close to the number one month of the entire year for coaches. Why is that? Because everybody's thinking in January, I want to change my life. I want a different year than what I had last year. And so they're all ready. And if we go to sleep in this next week and don't do anything, then we're going to miss out on this thing. So that's why I wanted to go live tonight. Hey, do me a huge favor. If you're in the room, jump into the chat. You see this right here. Let us know that you're here. What is Mentor Monday? Mentor Monday is your weekly microdose of encouragement, inspiration, and miracle grow on your potential as a coach. I want you to crush it not only in coaching skills, but I want you to crush it in business. And so as we're finishing off this year, one of the things that was really important to me is to actually talk about a few things that I wanted to leave you this year with that could really help you build a strong momentum for next year as you're trying to welcome new clients into your coaching practice. There's Joan joining us from Bakersfield. Looking forward to your encouragement tonight. Thank you for that. Anybody else that's making it into the room? I haven't actually officially started with any content yet, but you can jump in and tell us hello. Tell us where you're joining us from and what you're excited about. Shamir is joining us from Atlanta. Glad to be back for another good one. I hope it's another good one for you guys. I believe it will be. So my whole plan in finishing off this year really was is that I'd give you some of the greatest hits of all time for our Mentor Mondays that we've had for the last few years. And so I know a couple of weeks back, I showed an interview that I'd done with one of our students, Penny Costaris, who is a certified professional coach. And, one of her big tools was email marketing. Now, anybody who's been around Life Coach Training Institute for any length of time, especially my Jumpstart students, who I know a couple of are already watching live, they're so studious and they're so hungry. Even though they're growing their practices, they're still hungry to be around all the time. Can you believe that? You think that they'd finally get tired of me. But anyway, all I want to say is that I am a really big advocate of email marketing. Email marketing is not dead. As a matter of fact, it's the closest thing that you can come to free when it comes to building your coaching practice, when it comes to your messaging, when it comes to marketing and everything else. One of the things that happens when you're trying to do the Instagram thing, when you're trying to do the Facebook thing, or any of the social media stuff that everybody else is doing, is that sometimes your messaging can get drowned out because there's so many people, because not only are they seeing on their feed all of the people that they are following, but now you get sponsored posts. And so people are getting yelled at all the time. There's a lot of noise that's out there that you're having to compete with. This is another reason why I believe that email marketing is amazing, because yes, there is a certain amount of noise in email, but that's usually going into the spam or promotions folder. So it gets kind of reduced over there. What we're talking about is email marketing. That's our messaging. When we say email marketing, it's not you just sending emails out saying, would you like to be a client? Would you like to be a client? I'm signing 3 new clients, all of this other stuff. I've got space in my client list for more clients or whatever. What we're really talking about is 80 to 90% of the time that you are using the inbox to actually nurture a relationship with your potential client. It's what we were talking about with Penny a couple of weeks ago. And this is how, when she had a small list of just a few hundred, that she was able to turn that into $26,000 pretty much immediately once she actually asked for the business because she'd been nurturing a relationship with people. See, this is one of the things, is that an inbox is still a very personal space. The email box is still a very personal space. And we can have a dialogue and we can nurture a relationship, because as long as you're emailing relevant things to people that they actually want, they will open your email and you will speak to them in their life and they will buy from you. And email's almost free. When I say it's almost free, you can use email marketing software for free up to usually a few thousand people. So you can literally send thousands of emails for free and use that as a tool, as an ongoing way to get in front of your ideal client, that you're always offering them something of value, even when they're not buying from you, that you are nurturing a relationship. Because what do we always say? 3 key points that you've got to nurture. For one, you got to nurture trust, that people buy from people that they trust. They also buy from people that they like, but they also buy from people who show a certain level of expertise to help them with their specific problem. Not every problem in the world, but the one that actually ties you to that, your ideal client, the problem they're thinking about, the problem that they're wanting to solve. That's what we really want to be talking about and getting in front of them. As long as you're talking about things that matter to them, they'll stay on your email list, and they'll keep opening up your emails, and they'll keep reading your emails, and they'll keep interacting with you. Now, some of you are using email marketing and you're not seeing a lot of success. You've got a low open rate. And I'll tell you that some people say that the industry standard is somewhere around like 10%, maybe something like that. These are emails that people don't want. That's why the open rate is so low. We have, as far as my emails that go out to our students, even in Life Coach Training Institute, I have a very high open rate, way above what the average email marketing standards are out there. With my clients, we're looking at an email open rate. When I say open rate, percentages that you send of all the emails that you send, what percentage of them to get open. That's what an open rate is. In my industry average is probably below 20%. Mine was 80 something percent, 90% in most cases. Why? Because I'm sending out relevant things to people who want to open up my emails, because I'm giving them something that's really good and something that's going to help develop them, or a tool, or whatever it is, So what I want to do tonight is I want to show you how you can actually increase the percentage of people who open your emails. Because if they don't open them, you're not nurturing a relationship with them. And if they're not opening it, then it's probably because we're sending things that they think look spammy or they're not really interested in. So what I'm going to show you tonight, and we're going into the archives by a few years, what you'll see is, hey, I am growing out the beard. My wife said that she really likes me with a beard, so we're going to see how long I can tolerate that. I know we're past no shave November, but I'm going to try to bring in the new year with a beard. We'll just see how that goes. So in the video I'm going to show you, not only am I sans beard, I'll have the old goatee back, but the other thing is that you're going to see the old classic whiteboard. You will not see Solomon, but all of the information is absolutely still relevant. And what we're going to do is I'm going to show you that, because I'm not going to do it any better than what I did it at that time. And I'm going to show you all the key components of how do you actually increase your open rate, because I want you guys to crush it. And again, I'm going to encourage everyone. If you're not already using email marketing, you should be using email marketing. Let me say hello to a couple more people who are on here. Joan says the beard looks good. Thank you. It's got to fill in. It's like all these little spotty things, but this thing gets really dark really quickly. I don't know. Hey, there's Sharon from Atlanta as well. Okay, cool. Well, no further delay. Let's take a look, and I'll be back in a moment and talk about what does it require to get someone to open an email. Now, one of the terms that are used in email marketing, and I'll just give you the term that you usually hear in email marketing, and it's called open rate. And really what we're talking about is the percentages of emails that go into an email box and actually get open. So let's say that you have 1,000 people on your email list. You sent an email, and typically in the email marketing software, now, if you're sending it from your own email account, you're not going to see this. But if you use one of the email softwares, and I'll throw a few of them out there and we'll talk more about these in the future, but there's a few of them that are out there that you can research. One of them is called Active Campaign. Another one is that's very popular is called MailChimp. There's ConvertKit. There is Constant contact is an old one. And this is a brand new marker, and it's just not that great this morning. Come on, marker. And so these are a few of them that you'll see out there. There are a ton of them, and all of them give you statistics so that you can see if your emails are actually effective. And some of these give you some nice templates and some drag and drop features and different kinds of things. You can actually see if somebody opens your email and if they click any link that you've put in there. Now, one of the big things that they talk about is this thing called open rate. And so open rate, essentially what we're talking about, let's say that you sent your email to 1,000 people. Let's say that we sent an email to 1,000 people. Open rate is what percentage of these people actually opened the email. And so you can look at your email statistics when you send an email, and you'll see a lot, and you'll see these different numbers. Let's say that I would say in general that if you can do a 30+% or better email open rate, you're doing pretty decent in terms of the averages. But I would say this, that most coaches who have an email list that are sending emails out to their people are not even getting them to open them up. They're sending emails, and that email box from one of their potential clients might as well be the graveyard of their emails. All of your aspirations of becoming a coach, and if you've ever sent out emails to people and you haven't gotten a response from them, and let's say that you were all excited and you put an email together, you wrote it and you sent it out, and no one actually even responded to the thing, high percentage of chance that your emails didn't actually even get open. They might have gotten into the inbox if you're able to get past the spam filter. But if they got into the inbox, if they weren't open, then there's something wrong with what you're doing. And so what I'm going to show you today is how to get people to actually open your email. I'm going to help you up the percentage of chance that they're going to open them. Okay. So to do that, let me show you something really quick. Keys to getting people to open your email. I'm going to do an overview, and then we're going to do a dive into one of these points. The reasons people open an email, these are the top 5, really. And what you see is sender name. And really simply, when it comes to sender name, I'll talk about that in just a second. But sender name, really what we're talking about with sender name is that you actually have your name in the email. And also the email that it's coming from is going to be really important as well. If you do not put a sender name, or you put the name of your company, and the from address is something like contact@blankcoaching.com or something like that, or info@blankcoaching.com, it's not personalized enough from that standpoint. And so when someone sees it in their inbox, the lower the chance that they're going to open it. So the simple thing is, make sure that the sender name actually has your name in it. Make sure that it's actually coming, or at least appears to be coming, from your personal email address. That's always going to get a much higher open rate if it's coming with a name and from your email address. So, but let's do a deep dive really quickly when it comes to, and what I'm going to do really quickly, just so that you guys can see them. I'll hide the crawler for a second. What we want to do today is a deeper dive on this 47%. This is a reason why people open an email, is the subject line that they are seeing. Let me say hello to Sassy really quick, because she's saying hello. Sassy from South Carolina, welcome. So let's do a deep dive on subject line, because it stands to reason. Sender name's easy to fix, right? Sender name can be fixed like that, okay? Now we've dealt with 60-something% of the reason why someone would open an email. To get to a higher percentage of open, we have got to deal with the subject line, which is nearly half of the reason why someone would open an email from you is the subject line. So what is the important things that you need to know about subject lines? Let's talk about it. First of all, in the subject line, it needs to be visible. It's about the visibility of the subject line itself. And what do I really mean by that? This is what I mean. Visibility has a few different factors in it. One of those factors is capitalization. Another is the number of characters in the subject line. And the third thing is mobile devices that we'll talk about here in just a second. Now, visibility, first of all, when it comes to capitalization, you need to be really careful when it comes to capitalization. Why is that important? Because if everything's just all in caps, then nothing really matters. I'm not saying you can't use capitalization. I'm not even saying that you can't capitalize an entire word. But if you're capitalizing the entire subject line, if you are over capitalizing, sentence case is can be your friend, and so can capitalization if you do it right. But if we're doing all of this crazy stuff with regard to the subject lines, it's automatically going to look like something that's spammy. For one, your filters in your email program are probably going to see all of the capitalization and it's going to look like something that's spammy, and they're going to either ban it or throw it into the spam folder or the promotions folder if you're in Gmail. But the thing is that we're trying to draw someone in. So to make it visible, one of the keys is making sure that you emphasize what you want to emphasize in the subject email, and the rest that you can leave in lowercase. If you look at some of the emails that we send you, just as a tip, you're going to see that sometimes we're capitalizing certain words inside of the subject line because we want to draw your attention to some things, but we're not trying to capitalize everything that's in the subject line. Second thing that I would tell you is that emojis are something that can be used in subject lines to draw people's attention to what you're offering. But again, you got to be careful with it. You got to make sure that you're not overdoing it, that you're not putting like 10 emojis inside of a subject line. But in many cases, emojis have color to them, and they just draw the eye to something that you're trying to feature. But again, you've got to be careful with how you do that. But those are keys to actually making it more visible. But let's get a little bit more granular on this. One of the important things that most of you probably haven't realized with email marketing is that there is actually, in some cases, it doesn't seem like there's a limit to how many characters that you can put into a subject line. But the problem is that some people are making subject lines that are way too long for most people. When I have this highlighted part about mobile devices, let me give you a really important number that you really need to know. 60%. What is that? This is how many people are reading their email, first of all, on their mobile device compared to the way that it was on their computer. Now, I know some of you still use Outlook, and I know some of you still use your browser on your computer or your laptop to open up things. I'm just telling you that most people, the way that you're composing your email, if it looks great on your computer, that's fine. Just know this is that most people are going to open up your emails from them on their mobile browser. So if you are not optimizing for mobile, you're not thinking about how it appears in a mobile device. Now, in all this email software, you can send yourself. Let me see if I even have my phone. I don't have my phone over here. Strange. But if you send an email to a phone, you can usually send like a sample to yourself. You can look at how it's going to look and perform inside of an email app to confirm whether or not something looks good or not. Let me say hello to Barry. Barry from San Diego. Welcome, Barry. Okay, so 60% of your emails are going to be opened on mobile. So huge consideration for when someone's opening up your email, the design and all of that. But the subject line is what most people are not thinking about. You can put a lot of characters inside of a subject line does not mean that you need to do that. Why is that? There's two things that I'm showing you here. One is that 85% of users are Gmail users. They 80%, and what Gmail says is that 85% of their users are active in using their Gmail. And so it's really important, because for some of you who just think that everybody's looking on a different device or they're using Outlook or something like that, I'm not saying that people don't have those, but I've even seen with the people who go to our school that this number actually stands up. It's probably 75, 85%. So I see that consistently as far as the number. Why is this important? because when we think about our email marketing, we are programming for Gmail. We're doing everything that we do, trying to go by Gmail behaviors. You know why? Because they're kind of leading the charge, and it's actually changing the way other people do their email programs. If you can strategize, you can think about doing what you do for a Gmail user, then you're going to have an email that will work for Outlook and everybody else. So that's why this is super important. So as you look at this, not only are 85% of people using Gmail, and the Gmail saying that they have mostly active users, this is the way a mobile. Now, listen, it's going to vary from phone to phone. Okay, if you look at this screenshot that I've got for you inside of a Gmail app, you can see this is what people are able to see when you send them an email. Now, I'm going to ask you to do something really quick. I'm going to interrupt just for a second and ask you to do this. Like this post and share it, comment, okay? It tells Facebook and YouTube that we're doing a good job. That's the minimum thing I'm going to ask of you, because what I'm showing you today is worth thousands of dollars. You know how I know that? Because I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars just from email marketing without spending a dime on Facebook ads or anything else. You guys need to know this, that I've never had to pay for advertising in all of these years of being in business. And so take what I'm telling you stuff today that I would normally only talk to my Jumpstart students about. And so understand that what you're getting is such extraordinary value. If you never, ever get certified through Life Coach Training Institute or work with me personally, know this, that I have added thousands of dollars worth of value. And if you're not taking notes, then you're cheating yourself today, because what I'm showing you will make all the difference in what you're doing in email marketing. I'm serious about that. So please just at least like and share this post, and we're going to go on. So inside of the app, you can see what you see inside of a Gmail app. And what do you see there? You see the name, like we were talking about. That's going to be the first thing that people see. That's why it's so important to put your first name in there, because it's going to be the first thing that everybody sees when they open up their email. Second thing that they see is the subject line. You see how the subject line's actually, at least in this view, is a little bit smaller. Now, notice in all of these subject lines that are shown here, you notice how they are short. I'm going to give you another tip here, okay? Max subject line, they say, is 40 characters. Max, in terms of being viewable. See how we open this up? If you have most of your subject line that's not showing up there, then people aren't seeing it. You've got to at least put the most important part of your subject line in that viewable area. They say 40 characters maximum to be viewable. For Gmail, it's different. It's 38 characters. 38 characters. And what is a character? Each letter is a character. Each space is a character. So when they look at the email, I'm not saying that you can't have a subject line that's longer than that. What I am saying is that if it's going beyond 38 characters, no one's seeing what your offer is. No one's seeing what you have to say. So put your most important words in there. 4 to 6 words, something like that. Most important words. Now, look at this next little thing. Do you see that preview text? This is something that all email programs have, and most coaches, and I would say if you're using email marketing, most of you didn't know this existed, and you're not using it to your benefit. So I'm showing it to you. Again, I'm showing you something that has allowed me to be so successful and build a business off the back of email marketing without spending any money on marketing. This is how it gets done. Look at the preview text right here. You see that? What's highlighted? Dear Lauren Smith, below are the updates of your. Listen, if your preview text sucks like that, people aren't going to open it up. Okay? Look at some of the other preview texts. Toby, 50% off your first order. Your 50% off code is. That is going to draw someone in who actually wants that product. See how important that is? So these are the things that we're thinking about. is that you have a name, you have a subject line, but you also have preview text that shows up in that display pane. We've got to think design for mobile, and we've also got to think what are the most important things. If I only had a few sentences, if I only had like a sentence, if I only had a few words, what are the most important things that sum up what I am talking about that actually gets them to move on what I'm talking about? Okay. Now, what is the other thing that we really need to think about? Well, here's the next thing. Besides that, we've got to talk about personalization when it comes to the subject line. What do I mean by personalization? Well, for one, we're talking about it's actually coming from you as a sender with your name, all of those things. Personalization means that I'm going to do something more in the first person in a couple of different ways. One is I'm going to write subject lines that are in the first person that are directed to you. And so I might actually use the word you, or I might have the word you understood as you, or I might actually use your name. If you will put a name in the subject line, you're going to increase the odds of someone opening up that email by about 26%. It's crazy. So name, and making sure that you have names spelled correctly and all that other stuff inside the email software that I showed you a while ago. There's a little plugin that you can put in there that will pull the name. You don't have to write individual emails for everybody. It'll literally pull the name out of the database and put it into the subject line. If you say you can, then that's another effective way, or a subject line that is also an understood you. Let me see who else I need to say hello to. Nahid, welcome. Hey, do me a huge favor again. Make sure if you have any questions that you put them on there. Make sure that you like and share this post, because that really helps us tell Facebook and YouTube that we're doing a really good job, okay? I'm going to finish with one more thing, but let me pay the bills really quickly, okay? This weekend is our final live that you are attending with, because you're going to be watching live coaching bootcamp, live coaching demos throughout the entire week this year. They've already thought about what they want for their next year, but they need you to step up in this moment, because people's stories are not going to resolve next year unless your story resolves. Are you going to do something? Are you going to quit making excuses? Are you going to quit being afraid? Are you going to quit doing things for free that you could be getting paid for? This is what this is about. The boot camp is this weekend. It's Friday night, all day Saturday, from the airport to where I needed to get. I slept in the airport the first night, took throw them in. But let's finish up with this last thing. The last part of a subject line, and we're going to have to, and I'm going to have to expand on it probably next week, is what we call the call to action. What does your subject line actually say? What does it say? Because we talked about just the simple fact that you've got a subject line and you've got preview text that you need to work together to get people's attention. But what does it say? It needs to be personal. It needs to have that person's name, or it needs to be in the first person, and it needs to be directed. But there has to be a call to action. What are you calling them towards? Whatever. And sometimes you'll see emails, and it's look at the emails right now that you get from places, and what is it about the subject line that gets them to open it? Some of those things, not only is it personalized, but it is intriguing. It's interesting. Try today just as a test. Pick 20 people that you know you've got their email, and maybe they're friends or just people that you know, even acquaintances. But make sure that your email shows your name, and inside the subject line, I just want you to put in the subject line, I need to apologize, or I'm sorry. Just put those in there and then send it. And watch how many people open up the email and how many people actually respond to it. It's going to be a crazy test. Matter of fact, what you might even do is put I apologize. I'm sorry, I apologize, or I need to apologize to you. And in the preview text, just put your cell number and your name. Hey, but I need you to call me. Let them call or text you. Watch how quick the response is. Watch how effective the response is. Just doing that. Why? Because it's personalized, it's intriguing, it's interesting, and it's actually a call to action that is inside of the email. Try that today. If I'm wrong, then prove it to me that I'm wrong. But I've noticed that every time that I've done an intriguing, interesting subject line, now there's some things that you don't want to overdo, but these are the ways to get people to actually open an email, see it, scan it, and actually open an email. Let's see if there's any other questions that we have on here. Any questions that you guys have for me, anything that you would like to say before we head out, do me a huge favor and like and share this post, okay? I really need you guys because, again, we gave you thousands of dollars worth of information today that can make you a six-figure coach. I'm convinced of it because I did it myself. It's not rocket science, but it's about doing the right kinds of things strategically and effectively. And talk about all right, everyone. Hey, thanks for the patience on some of that video editing that we didn't do a great job on, apparently. So I'll be the one to blame because we're on vacation, right? Hey, let me pay the bills really quickly and I'll take any of your questions. Hopefully you found that really beneficial. And again, I will tell you, if you'll actually put those things together in your email marketing, like I suggested, you're going to watch a major change in what you're doing. How do I know that? Because I've not only done it with our coaches, I've not only done it with my own business, but I've also helped other businesses do the exact same kind of thing. So for about the last like 15 years at least that I've been doing these kinds of things. And so please take that information, utilize it, make it work for you. Hey, for those of you who have not gotten trained and certified as a coach yet, let me give you our best offer to be able to get this thing up and going and get the business development help that you need. Because what I want to share with you is not just a way to get trained and certified. That's where a lot of people are leaving it. You know, the schools that are out there, we're about the only school out there that offers business development help. And there's a really big reason why we do that. Because if you're like me, you'd probably never done business before. You never started a business before you wanted to become a coach. And so it's great to walk off with that nice little shiny certificate that's going to only be on your wall and nobody's going to see it unless you actually have a business plan. And so I don't believe that starting a coaching practice is rocket science. I believe that there are some basic steps, basic things, pillars that you need to have in place where you can be really successful. And that's what I put together inside of this Jumpstart program, which we started all the way back in 2016, but it has grown increasingly so that not only in Jumpstart are you able to get trained and certified, but we have a lot of live options. There's a lot of live interaction. And we've also added 5 additional courses to Jumpstart since we began it. Let me give you the spiel on what you can expect. Jumpstart's $97 a month with a 3-month minimum commitment. It includes a life coach certification course, which recently changed not only to be a self-paced course that's fully online, but now we offer Tuesday night training that's basically rolling sessions through all 7 course sessions of the life coach certification course. Foundations of Coaching, the anatomy of a dynamic coaching session, how to help your clients get extraordinary results, 2 sessions on how to listen on a transformational level, how to ask powerful questions, how to establish a growing coaching practice, and included our live coaching demos, because I know what it feels like to wonder if you could, how do you put all these things together? Well, we actually demo it because we have people practicing and we give you instant feedback on that. There's also live Q&As at the end of each one of those sessions. All of this is included inside of your training. We also give you access to the weekend live coaching bootcamp. The next one's coming up January 20th through the 22nd. All of those 7 sessions we put together in an entire weekend that has Q&As and role playing. And so you can knock all of your training out in a single weekend. And of course, all of our programs offer certificate and unique credential ID and a free listing on lifecoachmatch.com. Also in Jumpstart, for those of you who are wondering, like, well, what do I do about branding? And I don't know how to put a website together. And I don't even know how to write an email. We cover all of these things. Email marketing, we cover how to wireframe your website to show you what components need to be on your website, how to change your navigation, how do you actually create a website that is optimized for search engines, how to write a sales page, how to write an effective email, all of these things. So we go into great detail about all of these things. It's 13 hours of training that you have access to immediately when you enroll. And our enrollment only takes you about 90 seconds. You also get included the coaching product launch blueprint. Because as I've said a few different times, you don't want to just be offering one-on-one coaching. So what we show you how to do is, even if you don't have a clue of what you could be offering to people, we bring you from brainstorming to an actual product or a coaching practice launch within 8 sessions. So it's 8 sessions. We walk you through all of the tools, and you can also get feedback on anything that you're working on as you're going through any of these pieces and components throughout the Jumpstart program. Jumpstart, we could charge easily $10,000 for Jumpstart alone. You guys know, if you've been shopping around in life coach training programs, you know that they cost thousands of dollars, anywhere between $3,000 to $10,000 or $12,000, and that's only to get trained and certified. And so most people are broke before they could ever even think about starting a business. They're too poor to start a business at that point. And so what we really wanted to do is not break the bank. I know most of you are like me, who when you started, you're working a full-time job and you couldn't just take a week or weeks off for training or something like that. So we've designed the programs to all be self-paced. You can create your own schedule with a lot of live components. Tuesday night training, a Wednesday night group coaching call where you can connect with other coaches who are part of the program. We always go through wins. We always celebrate. You're going to have a community of people who you can walk this with. We're here to take you by the hand, not just be an internet school that gives you a certificate that you can print on your computer. Yeah, you'll get a certificate and all of that stuff as well, but we want to walk alongside you because we want you to succeed. And we've got extraordinary people who are geniuses, and they are amazing people who are not competing with you, but are people who can support you and help you along the way. You can actually enroll right now inside. If you go inside of the description of this video, you can click the link. You can get more information about Jumpstart there, and you can get enrolled in about 90 seconds. And I think it'd be really, especially some of you are like, okay, I got some birthday, I got some Christmas money that I got after everything was over and the dust settled, and you're sitting there with some Christmas money that you didn't expect that you were going to have. Or maybe you didn't invest in yourself this year. This is the thing that I would say. I would have loved to have had this when I started out as a coach. Except I ended up going thousands of dollars in the hole, and with a couple of nice certificates, but I had no money to try to figure out how I was going to get a business together. Everything that we've thought about with regard to our programs has been, not only the things that I wish I would have had as a coach, but we're current. We stay in connection with our coaches. We're always developing new things based on what our coaches need. And so really, in most cases, we're already developing things that you didn't even know that you needed. And we're talking about them, and we're helping you build your coaching practice piece by piece. We want you to be a proficient coach, but we want you to crush it as a business person. It's about coaching proficiency, but it's also you thriving in your coaching practice. That's what we are committed to at Life Coach Training Institute. And I'm really passionate about coaches, but I want you to crush it in life. Yes, I'd say again, it's not rocket science, but it is helpful to have the A to Z so that you don't make all the mistakes that most coaches are making that I see out there. So having said that, let me jump over here. I just want to look inside of the chat and see if there's anybody else that I need to say hello to. There's Coach Laquita. She says, I'm so grateful for you, Paul, and LCTI. Thank you. And Shamir says the same. William says that was good info. Thank you. Bill says, maybe we can go over building email lists from scratch, especially if one doesn't have a lot of original content. I won't be able to stick that in there tonight just because I just don't. I'd have to pull something out of the air and it would take me way too long. But let me put that together, and I'll help you do that. Also, I'll encourage you guys who are in Jumpstart. We do have a lot of information about doing that from scratch and you thinking about the kinds of content that you should be creating and all of those things. Shamir says, no questions for me. Thank you for all your time and support, Paul. You're amazing. LCTI is amazing. Thank you. Awesome. And who else do I need to say hi to? Greg says Jumpstart provides more value than a tank of gas for about the same price. India says, good to know. Happy to start here with some direction. Cool. Awesome. Hey, do me a huge favor. Get enrolled. If you haven't gotten enrolled yet, yeah, I'm gonna call you to like do something. So if you're sticking around and if you let 2022 get by you without doing anything, hey, no shame, but I'm asking you to go all in. Let's find some coaches who want to go all in, who want to change their own lives, change the fortunes of their kids, but also change the world. That's all. That's the only reason we're in this thing, is not simply to make money, but it is absolutely to go out and change the world. And the world needs us. And your number's being called right now. I need you to respond. Hey, listen, if you don't want to do it with us, get enrolled tonight somewhere. Like, hey, if it's not, hey, email me, message me and say, hey, Paul, I've decided to go elsewhere, but thanks for the encouragement. Then go do that. But don't make any excuses for why your life's not different and the world's not different. Nobody has a right to complain about the world who are not using the calling and purpose over their life to go do something about it. That's the way I really believe. I don't have a whole lot of complaints about the world. Maybe I'm entitled to some because I'm too busy trying to help people change the world. That's where my focus is. I hope it's yours for 2023. Listen, I appreciate you guys all immensely. Have a great rest of your week and take care.